North of Normal, the city of ice and fire. What does that mean? What is this town all about? It's Fargo, North Dakota. I'm Conrad Fargo, and this is the Fargo Five. We're here with Zoe Absy, who is running for the Park Board Commissioner. Hello, Zoe.
Hi.
Whoops, helps if I turn your mic on there. Try that again.
Hello.
So, Zoe, you are running for the Park Board Commissioner, which we were talking a little bit outside. This is a different fit for me on the show. Usually people are with a company that they run or a nonprofit that they run, and it sounds like you actually work for a nonprofit.
I do, yes.
But you do run for the Park Board Commissioner. I've seen your signs everywhere. In fact, I got your advertisement on my house.
Yes, and my door knockers are doing their job.
That you were telling me your brother or your brother-in-law.
Yeah, basically.
Was the one who was out there doing that. So it's a real small grassroots campaign where you've got the family out there running. Do you have a bunch of volunteers? Like what, for Park Board Commissioner, like what's the scale of something like that?
Yeah, so it's my first kind of running a campaign.
Yeah.
So I've dabbled with a few people in my life who I know some things about running a campaign, and then I've reached out to people who are like, I want to help, and I'm like, you said it, let's do it. So I have someone that I work with who kind of has helped me kind of balance my budget, all of that, and then a lot of my family door knocking, putting out signs, and just wearing pins to make sure people know to go vote. And
when I've seen your signs everywhere, so it's working.
Good.
Where did this idea, like what? So when you're not very old, I mean, I don't want to age shame you or anything, but I mean, were you in elementary school and being like, I want to be a politician? Or like, where did the idea of I'm going to get elected someday? Where was the very first instantiation of that kind of an idea?
Oh, gosh. Well, I have always wanted to help my community and make my community a great place to live and that everybody is represented. So I'm really passionate about creating access in my day job, and now that has just become a passion in all aspects of my life. I grew up in Fargo in Hawthorne neighborhood. I had access to a lot of great parks within walking distance. I also was able to participate in activities, and I recognize that not everyone in our community has that access. So really just that passion of creating access, and then someone reached out to me actually and was like, hey, you've mentioned you're wanting to become more civically involved. Have you thought about park board? And at first I'm like, I don't play hockey. I'm not really sports orientated. Sure. But then thinking about it, I was like, oh, there's so much more to the park district. There's art classes, there's green spaces, there's birding. I learned how to bird through the last few months. So
you want to help people, and that's great. I think we all want to do good. It's a natural human inclination. I don't know that we all think to do so by being elected, right? Right. Running for a popularity contest is kind of a different animal, and so you said somebody reached out to you. Mm-hmm. Can you name names, or I mean, is it somebody? Can you tell me like what your relationship with that person was and how that happened?
Aaron Hill, he is on the park board currently. He
so it was a current board member.
Yeah.
And how do you know him?
Through local work. My family owns a restaurant in town, and so through that collaboration, he knows my family, and then I have. The CEO of the Great Plains Food Bank, I've talked to her because she was on the city commission. So she knew that I was kind of dabbling and thinking about like, what can I do? Like I work grassroots work with the nonprofit and with my community involvement, but how can we make more change and lasting change? So she kind of put a bug in his ear. She
talked to him, who said to you, you know what you should do is get involved in politics.
Yeah, park board seems it's a good entry,
Was this a phone call? Was this an email?
Coffee.
Was this like he reached out to you and he said, Zoe, I want to take you out for a coffee.
Yeah.
Did you know what the coffee was going to be about, or?
Yes, I did. However, I didn't know. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is fun. This is exciting.
So it was first a phone call, then a coffee. You're sitting there and he says, you're going to run for park board.
Yes.
And your reaction was?
I had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And then I had time to think. And I'm very much a doer, and I want to try new things, and I like to challenge myself. And so come January 1st, I printed off, you have to collect 300 signatures.
Okay.
Printed off the sheets, and I just started and was like, well, I'm doing it.
So what did that look like, collecting signatures? So you're going door to door to door? Anybody could do this then?
Yeah, anyone can run. So park board is the only one that you have to collect 300 signatures.
Okay.
And so it was a lot of going to events, asking for signatures, learning what I stood like. Getting my spiel down, selling myself.
Sure.
I am not in the sales.
Yeah, sales
position.
is challenging. Yes.
Yeah, so learning that skill, and then again, helping my family is wonderful, and friends. I talked to their networks and got their signatures too.
What was the first signature that you got? What was that like? Do you even remember? Obviously, it
Yes,
must have
I
been
do.
mom and dad, or the first one that's not mom and dad, like the first one that you had to ask for, the first one that you earned, where it was like, okay, here's a person who doesn't know who I am, doesn't know what I'm about, and I'm going to ask them for a signature. What did that even feel like to like go up?
Yeah.
Did you go up to a stranger? Were you at an event, or tell me about that?
Well, I have so many different examples in my head, but one that I really remember is at a Heart and Soul Community Cafe event that was
Yeah,
at Blackbird.
hey, okay.
I just started walking around and someone was like, well, I don't sign things that I don't know what I'm signing. So tell me, why are you running?
Yeah.
And that was the first time someone had asked. Most people are like, sure, love that you're running. I was like, awesome, this is easy. But she was like, tell me. And I had to like come up with my spiel.
Had to earn it, yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, awesome, love it. And I was so nervous, but she signed and she's been a huge supporter now throughout
That's
my
amazing. So
time.
you know Leola Dahl then?
Yeah,
You're previous
yes.
guest of the show. I don't know if you're aware.
Yeah, she's so wonderful.
I almost feel like I should start now. I've been doing the show for so long. When I have somebody on, I should just pull up my Facebook and see who we have who are
Yes.
mutuals. Like that could just be, so because I think we had quite a few. Joshua Wojtek, you know Josh Wojtek, also previous guest of the show. If
Okay.
you can recall him. He used to run 99 Bottles. Now he does the golf courses over in
Yeah.
Moorhead. Also, Josh Salt. So, you know, everybody. See, but that would be the problem is if I start listing all these people that you know and then you don't really remember them very well, that could also be a little bit of a problem for the show, right? Okay, so what is coming up next for you as far as running for the park board? You got the signatures. So that was 300. How long did it take to get all those?
I had them done by beginning of February, I would say.
Okay,
I
that's
sat on
quick.
them for a while.
Yeah.
And then I announced end of February.
300 isn't that many.
You would think, but like, you know, yeah, it takes some time.
Well, and again, so I'm just kind of trying to get, if I wanted to do this, what kind of a support network do I need behind me? Like if I wake up and I'm like, you know what? Zoe got elected, but I don't like the job she's doing. I'm going to go run against her next year. So I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go get these signatures. Like, what really do you need behind you? It obviously helps to have mom and dad who are helping. But what all, as you're getting those signatures, how many different places did you have to go? You said you were at an event, so you had to know somebody to set it up at the Heart and Soul Cafe, right? What other things did you have to do?
Yeah. So I think prior to even collecting signatures is getting involved in the community. I think that has been a huge asset. Is I'm involved in a lot of different I'm on a few different boards involved in community events and organizations. So I started there and then build off that. There's a lot of events, free events in Fargo. I just started going to them. You know, I was already going to a few because I love the community that we live in. But then it was like, oh, young professionals, the chamber. I usually don't attend those events, but I should start and meet new people and get my name out there. So kind of getting out of your comfort zone of what maybe you usually go to and finding those different events on Facebook or different pages to see where you can tap into.
That's so interesting. You know, so one of my many hats that I wear is as a consultant for people who are starting small businesses, and it's the exact same advice that I give them, which is like just get out and meet people and grow your network, go to the
100%.
networking events, and it's becoming a politician is almost like starting a small business.
And you're selling yourself too, so yeah.
You got to learn. You got to learn sales. You got to learn to be the one asking, not the one being asked. Like that's definitely a learning experience. And then, so you got the 300. You put them in, and then what? Like, and then what? Now spring is sprung, and you're going door to door, or what's going on there?
So while I was collecting signatures, created a website, created a Facebook. Created some content, I suppose. And then come March 1st, I announced and realized, I have to post a lot more. I'm not a poster on my personal page, really. So, again, selling yourself. And so, a lot of Facebook posts, decided to tour a lot of the parks. So I started going to different parks and doing different activities to showcase what the park district is already doing and how it aligns with what I believe. And then, putting out signs has been a big undertaking. And then door knocking, I have a few door knockers who are out there probably today getting my name out there.
And these aren't family. These are like people who are just volunteering and believe in your cause? Or
I have a few, so I have family and then I have close friends.
Okay. And so you have like a following. You have people who are like following you now. What's that like? Like the stardom, all of that, it's got to be very exciting.
It's exciting. However, like I want to hear about everyone else. Like Everyone is so supportive and wants to know how the campaign is going. I don't know how to answer that, though.
Yeah.
It's going well, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
well, and it's because this is, we were talking before the show a little bit. It's not a partisan race, and it's not like a big, high controversy, kind of a like we've got these strong things. So it's not like people are out there doing exit polls or any kind of polling of any kind, right?
No.
So you're just going to see what happens,
Exactly.
which that's got to be really exciting too, right?
Yes, yeah, we're a week out, and I have a letter someone wrote a letter to the editor for me, trying all these different things. So,
was it somebody you knew?
Yes.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Like to me, I think that would be the most bizarre moment is when you have people who don't even know you.
Yeah,
Who are
writing letters of support. That would be awesome.
Like that's what I think. That's when things get really weird. But usually the hate comes before the love. That's what I've found, at least doing the radio show, is that people are far more likely to reach out and tell you what you've been doing wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. Very fair.
But so the exciting and free and fun thing that's coming up here is the election, which so you had reached out to me and you said, can I be on the show? And I was like, oh, I don't know. It's not really, I don't know if it's in there. And you're like, well, there's an election coming up. Because I always say when someone wants to be on the show, I say, well, the second segment is kind of our bottleneck because you need to have a place and a time and a location. You have to have something going on that's at least open to the public. And you said, well, there's the election, June 11th. And I went, there's an election, June 11th? Which I didn't even know because I'm a horribly ignorant person, which makes for great radio and podcast, right? And so I said, let's have you on for that. So that'll be our next segment. We're going to talk about the June 11th election coming up. So we will do that right after this break. So don't go nowhere.